What's going on, Jello family? In today's video, we're going to go over how to get into the top 1% of income earners in the United States. So for me, very fortunate, these past 2 years, I was able to achieve that milestone, that goal, all in my 20s too. So I'm very, very proud of that. The United States, top 1% of income earners earn about $500,000 in annual revenue every year. For me, my job, as well as just through consulting, we were able to achieve that goal. Very fortunate and very happy to do that, right? So I just want to share my journey, how I did that, and I hope it can honestly help you guys to achieve this as well. Long story short, we worked 2 remote roles, both at tech companies, as well as one was a W-2 role, one was a 1099 role. The first role was working at Google. We were paid a salary, equity, as well as bonus. That was my W-2 role, right? That totaled about $300,000. And then I had a 1099 role where I was consulting at another firm, and that paid about $200,000. So helping with the PM work there as well. So just a lot of work from home and consulting. And I did this all in my 20s. I'm no different than anyone else. I'm no smarter than anyone else. I'm really just a normal person. And there was a time in my life where I really didn't believe in myself. So if I can go through this kind of transformation, this journey, so can you. I want you guys to know that. I come from a first generation family. Mother and father both came from the Philippines, really didn't know how the economics, how the world worked here in the United States. And it was up to me to figure everything out kind of on my own, right? They sent me to school. They wanted the best for me, but they always told me they believed in me, right? So I'm here to always tell you, I believe in you. I know you can do it. Whatever situation, whatever role you're in right now, or whatever struggle you may be going through, please know I believe in you. So first things first, how did I get that W-2 job at Google, right? Google is one of the hardest places to get into, one of the most prestigious companies to get into, and a lot of people are applying every day to get into that role. So for me, this is how I did it. Google is interesting. You get 3 applications a month to apply to different roles, and they cap you out. Most companies, you can basically spam the career portal and apply to so many different roles. And you just keep applying until someone says yes and you actually interview and you ace the interview. Google, a lot harder than that. You actually need to apply to several roles, 3 roles a month that fit your resume. If they fit your resume, you get a call from a recruiter, and then you'll have the toughest 6 to 7 rounds of interviews you've ever had in your life. Prestigious company, they pay around $300,000 a year for their employee. Everyone's fighting for that job. Just understand that is the marketplace. That's how it works. You need to basically stand out, do really well in the interviews, and be kind of exemplary to take that role, take that job. And then once you get to that job, you do need to excel as well. It's not just, you made it, good job, here you go, buddy, here's your money. No. You still have to do well. So here is how I applied to Google. First things, what I did was I applied to 3 jobs every month at Google. And then I set a recurring reminder, okay, those 3 jobs you applied to was on this day, you now get to apply 3 jobs again. So every month, I would apply 3 jobs a month at Google. That was about 36 jobs a year, which was pretty cool. Interesting thing is too, is if you have different emails, you can apply to multiple jobs at Google. So have another email with your profile, your information, use that to apply different jobs at Google, especially if you really want to go there. I've had friends do this who told me that's how they got in. They applied different roles at Google, and then they were able to basically finally get an interview, do well, get in off. Google is fascinating in a sense where you have 7 rounds of interviews. These 7 rounds are pretty hard. First is with a recruiter, then with a hiring manager, then a panel round of 5 people, and then if you actually pass that, they send you over to a hiring committee that reviews your profile one last time, and then if you get approved, you get the offer. Most companies aren't like this. You usually have 2 to 3 rounds of interviews, and then you get a job, and then you're happy, you get paid, right? Google is not like that. So the interesting thing about working at Google is that you need to do really well in these interviews, and then you're basically paid on a 3-pronged compensation basis. What does that mean? So you get paid base, you get paid bonus, you get paid equity. How does that work? So for me, the way my kind of finances worked was that you get around $160,000 in base, another $100,000 in equity, and another $40,000 in bonus. So about that $300,000 mark, right? That is how you get paid at a tech company. The cool thing about working at a tech company, especially if you work at a company where you get paid equity, is that you have the possibility of equity appreciation. In a sense, what happened was at Google, I was getting paid equity at a price of around $85 to $90 for each share. Fast forward today, the share price is now around $160 now per share, right? So just that in itself, the equity I had from work has already doubled itself in value. Awesome. Just keep that in mind, is that like whenever you work for a big tech company or a firm that pays you in equity, if you believe in that company, keep all the equity, don't sell it, allow it to appreciate, and then you'll make more money. So that's basically what I did. All the equity at Google, I allowed it to appreciate in value. Keep in mind, you want to keep this equity in your account for more than a year. That way you won't get taxed as much for long-term capital gains tax. So always, if you believe in the company, keep the equity strong. Next part is base. This is your base salary, right? So for my base salary, it was around like $170,000, right? A year, which is almost about $85 an hour or so. And then this is paid every bi-weekly Friday, right? The reason this is really important is because if you have a family, if you are providing for people, and base salary is very important to you because you have bills, you have people you're providing for, make sure this is a big focus on what you're getting paid, right? So for me, I was able to get a really good base salary of around $85 an hour. This after taxes, after contributing to my benefits, after contributing to 401k, all that, around $40,000, $4,200 every 2 weeks for me to be paid. And it was actually pretty nice, right? $4,200 after every few weeks or so. That was a pretty great salary, especially for someone who doesn't have a family. So it allowed me to really just basically take care of myself, pay for rent, pay for my car, pay for my utilities, pay for the loans I had from going to school, everything of that nature. I was able to address, able to pay for, able to just really take on because of a really solid, a really high base salary. Very fortunate, very blessed. Don't get me wrong, I'm very happy for that. That was one of the great things about working at a tech company where you get paid 3 forms of compensation. Next was bonus. Bonus is fascinating because this is based on your performance. Usually about 20% or so of your salary, whatever you're getting paid, will go to bonus. So if you're making, say, $200,000 in salary, in base salary, 20% will go to about $40,000 in bonus, right? And then if you do really well, if you perform well, you get a multiplication factor, meaning that you perform well, the company will multiply your bonus by a certain amount, and you'll get basically more than your promise of that 20%, which is really great. So my advice is, if you work at a big tech company or you work at a company like this, like perform well, you'll get paid more based on your compensation, and you'll you get more money. If you do well, you do a great job, and you learn a lot. Honestly, it's a lot of fun learning, right? The more you learn, the more you earn. I think that's so true, especially at a role like at Google. So the more you earn, the more you learn, the more you learn, the more you earn, vice versa. So always keep working hard, right? I had coworkers who just hit out the park. They got paid a lot of bonus, and it's really good. In investment banking, I have had friends who probably make like double their salary just because they did so well from the investment banking year and they performed well, the company did well. So if you're going this route of basically big tech, banking, or just a career in corporate America, the better you perform, the more money you make. So just keep that in mind whenever you're working to make more money. That's the fascinating part about that. So that's basically how we generate $300,000 from a W-2 job in your 20s. Very fortunate, very blessed. I understand though that I was in California. Keep this in mind, everyone. I was in California. In California, you get paid the highest band when it comes to your location, because California has the highest amount of living expenses. Bay Area as well. Bay Area pays the most. Also, I understood that my salary wasn't typical because I negotiated.